The Arctic, A Melting Ocean by John Barry. Imagine walking on top of an ocean. Believe it or not, there is an ocean you can walk on. It is the Arctic Ocean. Sadly, we may not be able to walk on it in the future. The Arctic Ocean surrounds the North Pole. It is the world's smallest ocean. Thick ice covers most of the Arctic Ocean. In some places, the ice is 20 feet thick or more. Scientists who study this unusual ocean observe animals that live on top of and below the ice. They also study the ice itself. They measure and drill, taking samples from deep within. Scientists have discovered that the ice cover is changing. There is less of it than there used to be. Scientists believe this may be one of the consequences of global warming. The ice zone. The Arctic Ocean has two parts, the ice zone and the water zone. The ice zone consists of frozen seawater, snowdrifts, and ridges and walls of ice. There are even mountains of ice. Despite the intense cold, many animals live in the ice zone, including hares, polar bears, birds, and seals. These animals have learned how to live on the ice. There is life within the ice, too. Tiny one-cell plants live deep in the ice. They are so small that you can see them only with a microscope. The ice zone isn't always the same size. It changes during the year. In the summer, when the air heats up, the water below the ice becomes warmer. As a result, the pools of water form on the surface of the ice. Cracks appear, and some of the ice splits apart. A freezing cold sea. The Arctic Ocean goes down 4,000 feet in some places. That may sound deep, but the Arctic is actually the shallowest ocean on Earth. The Arctic's frigid water stays within a few degrees of freezing. Divers say that the water feels thicker than normal seawater. That's because it's almost frozen. If you were to stick just one finger in the Arctic, you jump back from the cold. Surprisingly, many creatures live in the Arctic Ocean. Some fish thrive here, such as the Arctic cod. You can also find crabs, starfish, and sea cucumbers crawling along the ocean floor. Some whales live in the Arctic Ocean too, including the narwhal. Nicknamed the unicorn of the sea, the male narwhal has a single tusk on the front of its head that can grow to an impressive length, sometimes over 9 feet. A changing sea. Canadian scientist Roy Corner spent time studying the Arctic Ocean and walking on its ice. In 1969, he made the ultimate trip. He and 3 others were brave enough to venture all the way across the Arctic Ocean on dog sleds. Corner's trip could not be possible today. That's because the ocean has changed. The water zone is growing, while the ice zone is shrinking. There is less ice now than at any time since people began keeping records. In some places, the ice is half as thick as it used to be. Some say the changes are due to global warming. Global warming affects many places. However, scientists claim it's happening as much as 7 times faster in the Arctic than in other areas. Much has changed since Corner began his study of the Arctic. He once described today's Arctic Ocean as a different world. The past, the present, the future. A quickly melting ocean. Sunlight bounces off ice, but ocean water absorbs light. The water retains the heat from sunlight. The more open water, the more heat the ocean captures. The warmer the ocean gets, the more the ice melts, causing the water to soak up even more sunlight. The cycle continues. Melting ice is a big problem for animals living in the ice zone. For example, polar bears have adapted to life on the ice. Layers of blubber keep them warm, pads on their feet keep them from slipping on ice, and their white color helps them blend in. Polar bears aren't just suited for the ice, they need it. They use ice for hunting. They wait next to holes in the ice for seals to come up for air. When a seal comes up, a polar bear catches its meal. Without the ice, hunting is almost impossible. According to scientists, polar bears may be extinct within 100 years. Effects on people. Melting ice affects more than just animals in the Arctic. it affects people too. Many people live near the ocean's edge. Ice near the shore protects their villages by stopping the waves from coming ashore during storms. The shrinking ice is a threat to villages. Waves wear down the shorelines and cause the ground to fall into the sea. Over time, the ocean moves inland. In some villages, the sea is turning homes into debris. When the shoreline crumbles, homes along its edge crash into the water. For people living in the Arctic, the melting ocean is a terrible problem. Many have to leave the villages that their ancestors built and start over somewhere else. Adapting to change. Despite the damage caused by melting ice, the people of the Arctic are making the best of climate change. For example, more areas of open water make it easier to fish. Open water also makes travel and shipping easier and quicker. Long ago, explorers and merchants dreamed of a northwest passage through the Arctic Ocean. They thought the passage would begin in the Atlantic Ocean, go through the Arctic, and end at the Pacific Ocean. The dream has never come true because ice has always blocked the way. Soon, however, this may change. Scientists do not know exactly what will happen to the Arctic Ocean. One thing is certain, though. Scientists following in the footsteps of Roy Corner will be keeping a close watch on this changing sea. Look back and respond. Number 1. Scientist Roy Corner concluded that the Arctic Ocean is a different world today. What evidence supports his conclusion? Hint. For a clue, see page 267. Number 2. Overall, would an ice-free Arctic Ocean be good for animals that live in the ice zone? Explain. Hint. For a clue, see page 268. Number 3. What general statement can you make about the effects of the melting ocean on the people who live in the Arctic? Hint. For a clue, see page 269. Number 4. How could global warming help fishermen? Hint. For a clue, see page 270.